there are 7 instances that your county government should involve you in decision making on the budget process. We have the County Integrated Development Plan, we have the Annual Development Plan, we have the sector working groups, and then we have the County Fiscal Strategy Paper. Let's pause there and look at these key documents. What is the County Integrated Development Plan, the CIDP? Every county right now has at least one. And the CIDP, the most important thing you need to take away, we won't go in deep, but the most important thing about the CIDP is that it's a 5-year blueprint of your county government. All projects and programs that your county wants to do in 5 years, that is the document that sets this agenda. So why should the public be involved? It's because if you have proposals, let's say right now in Nyeri, we have climate change as an issue, drought and all that. So if you want climate change interventions for the next 5 years, then this is the document that sets this. And a rule of thumb in our sector, we say, is that anything not in a plan will not be budgeted for. So if you have these brilliant ideas and they never find themselves in this document, then they'll never be done. So that's the essence of a CIDP. It's done once every 5 years. So right now, as we speak, all counties are in the 3rd generation CIDP. Then we have the second document called the Annual Development Plan. Now, an Annual Development Plan is just 1 year extract of the 5-year blueprint. Remember, for a government, it operates in one year, financial year. So from July 1st to June 30, not in 5 years. So the blueprint of 5 years is split into 5 annual development plans. So again, why should you be involved as the public? Remember, the CIDP is a very broad document. Then your county government asks itself, what projects and programs should we start with? And this is where the annual development plan comes in. So you need to pay attention and be involved and engaged because you want to give your input on what projects and priorities should be started in the first financial year. So that is an ADP. Again, the rule of thumb is what is not in a plan will not be budgeted for. So the programs and projects for that one financial year are contained in the ADP, the Annual Development Plan. And this is why you should be involved very early on. And this document should be tabled in the county assembly by September 1st. Now, when you don't propose your projects in this document, then you'll have to wait until the next financial year when your proposals can be captured. From there, there's a document called a County Budget Review and Outlook Paper. And this is what is used by the sector working groups. Now, I chuckle at this because there are very few counties, almost none, that has a sector working group. And if they are there, they are mostly internal. They are technical working groups. Now, what is a sector working group? Now, a sector working group, I'll take an example of, again, my county Nyeri, where climate change is an issue. So a sector working group is a climate, let's say the Department of Environment, Department of Water, Irrigation, they all come to, and agriculture, come together and form a sector. So this sector meets all stakeholders, non-state and state actors, and they deliberate on the issues that they need to prioritize in the coming budget. Now, a sector working group will use two key documents, the Annual Development Plan and then the County Budget Review and Outlook Paper. The County Budget Review and Outlook Paper basically gives an analysis, a review of the previous year, performance of each department, and then the key thing about that document is that it gives provisional ceilings of each department. Basically what that means is that provisional ceilings means how much goes to each department. So this document now starts setting how much goes to each department. Then from the sector working groups, this is where they'll now discuss and realize, oh, the CBROP, which is the County Budget Review Outlook Paper, gave our sector, which is in climate change, X amount of money, let's say 5%. But when we look at the interventions we need to be addressed by the county government, we may need about 8% of the budget. So at this point, sector working groups, happening around October, November, December, This is where deliberations and lobbying and coming up with a sector report that lobbies for more funds comes in. Then from there, we go all the way to the county fiscal strategy paper, the fourth one. Now, at this point, between December and January and February, a lot of discussions are happening at national level. These discussions are mainly on one thing: how much will go to the county government versus how much will remain at national level. It's called the division of revenue. So these discussions are happening around January. So as these guys at sector are discussing their sector around November, come January, now we know how much will come to the county government of Nyeri. Let's say it's 6.1 billion. And so the county fiscal strategy paper is the next document where the public must be involved. And why is this? Now, once we know how much is coming to Nyeri County government, then this document sets the final ceilings that goes to each department. Final because now we know how much we are going to get. So if Nyeri at this point knows it's getting 6.1 billion in the next financial year, then the CFSP determines how much goes now to each department. Now at this point is where the sector working group should have lobbied enough so that they're involved at this level, so that when the final ceilings are done, then we have money going to climate change. Maybe they're able to push it from 5% to 8% or even higher. Now, after this, we have three other documents where you are supposed to be involved. One is the budget estimates. Then we have the approved budget. And then finally, we have the finance bill. Now, once the county fiscal strategy paper is tabled in the assembly on February 28th or by February 28th, the assembly has, and these are your MCAs when I say assembly, the assembly has 2 weeks to approve this document. Again, this document sets the final ceilings. Now, once a department like water and climate change, I'll use those guys, once they now know how much is coming to their department, they are now expected to sit down and unpack that money into programs and sub-programs. They need to develop a program-based budget. And they have until April 30 to do that. Now, during this period, between March 15 and April 30, the executive again is supposed to involve you as a public, because you may have lobbied for more funds for climate change. But then, are you sure the programs that will be tackled or embedded in that department to address the issues, are you sure that they are the programs that you proposed? So at this point again, you as the public must be involved so that when the budgets are being developed, the programs and sub-programs, then you are there to give your input that this is what we believe is a priority program addressing climate change in Nyeri. So at this point, up to April 30, they come up with what we call a budget estimate. So they are budget estimates and they have different names depending on your county. So this document is now tabled in the county assembly. Now, when it's there, the county assembly is given 2 months to deliberate on this. So they can approve this document as it came from the executive, or they can amend it. There are limitations to how much they can amend. But again, before your assembly approves any document, 2 things must happen. 1, it must be converted into a bill so that it becomes an act. But number 2, and this is the law, is that they must carry out public participation before approving anything in that house. So again, at this point, the public must be involved so that, again, you have a final chance to lobby for key programs. Now, a key thing to note, majority of people assume at this point where the budget is being prepared and read in the assembly, this is where I need to come with my proposals and my projects. Remember, guys, this decision was made way back in September when we had the annual development plan. That is where you are supposed to bring your projects and proposals. When you bring them at the tail end of this whole process, mostly what the officials do, they listen to you, document, but I can guarantee you your project or proposal will go nowhere. At this stage, that is final. So at this point, you have a final chance to lobby for more funds, for programs that are already now captured there. And these should be done by June 30. So the Assembly should approve the budget proposal. So at this point, it's called the appropriation bill, and should be approved by June 30. And then finally, you must ask yourself, so all this process is about how we are spending money. Now, but are we asking ourselves where this money comes from? So remember, yes, about 85% of your budget comes from the National Treasury, but then your county also collects revenue. So if you've paid parking, or if you didn't pay and you're penalized, your car was clamped, you paid penalties, you went to hospital and you had to pay for drugs, you paid licenses, liquor license, food, and all those manner of licenses. This is captured in what we call the finance bill. And this again is where the public must be involved. Why is this important? Because any charge by your county government is captured in that document. It must be approved in any finance act, either currently or in the past. And these are the 7 instances where your county government must involve you. Question is, 1, has your county government involved you in all these decisions? 2, when you are involved and you participate, does your input really get captured? Does it shape the document? Does it shape the direction your county takes? And if it doesn't, then how are government decisions made?